for the first group, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Professor. Hello, everyone. My name is Jaggi, and this is Team A, and then our name is also Team A. We are from Shanghai Jiaotong University and Osaka University. Lian and John, they're from Osaka University, and myself and Masha are from Shanghai Jiaotong University. And our campaign is going to be breast cancer awareness campaign. So when we started thinking about this topic, we didn't really know what to do, how to do. And then one day, Masha and me, we actually went to the metro station and we grabbed a bottle of water on the way. And then Masha said, I want a pink one. This is a blue one. I don't like this color. And then I said, maybe you should get a pink one as well. And then actually Nida said, maybe we should use that for our campaign. And then that's actually when we start thinking and talking about how actually we can use different water bottle labels into different colors and changing into different colors. And then our first idea was we want to talk about women's health. And we went to our research, and then actually we found out that breast cancer was the most common cancer diagnosed in young women. So young women, I'm talking about 25 to 35. And about breast cancer, we all know that in October, there will be a breast cancer month. And then in all over the world, we have a lot of awareness campaign going around. However, the problem is that people talk about breast cancer, when it's already developed. What we want to do is that we want to tell young women that we want to check it out before it starts. We want to stop it before it starts. So there is a quote from a breast cancer patient saying, I know it's out there, I know it happens. You see breast cancer awareness everywhere, but it's pink. That's what you see. You don't see information on what we do and what we can do actually to prevent. So that's actually our point, that we want to target young women from 25 to 35, where we don't think about actually breast cancer, because we know that this is not the age yet. So we want to target into young women from 25 to 35 age. And then our companies that I'll work with we're gonna work with 3 different countries. And then the first one is China, and the biggest city, Shanghai. And then the second one is Japan, and then Tokyo. And then the last one is Mongolia, which is I come from, and then the capital of Ulaanbaatar. So we chose those 3 beverage brands because, first of all, we want to change the water bottle labels, and second of all, these are the most corporate, how do you say, these corporates are like socially very responsible. Their corporate social responsibility is very high. Every year they actually have like new report talking about what they've done for the society. So we figured that it would be easier for us to contact them to actually work with them. And then our first company is going to be Nongfu Shanshuan. This is the biggest beverage company in China. And then mostly, like if you buy water, 1 in 2 would be the water from Nongfu Shanshuan. And our teammate Lian will talk about the breast cancer situation in China.
Okay, thank you, Jaggi. Also, thanks to your great idea. And after researching the information, it's evident that the breast cancer is indeed an issue deserve our attention, especially in China. And so let's talk about the status. In China, breast cancer leads the pack of women, affecting about 21.6 out of every 100,000 ladies. And urban areas are hit the hardest, with the incidence rates double those in the rural areas. And back to the 2008 Global Cancer Observatory found that the breast cancer ranked as its 6th deadliest cancer among the Chinese women. And the mortality rate stood at 5.7 cases every 100,000 women. Over the past 30 years, breast cancer deaths has been steadily increasing in both urban and rural areas. And as previously I mentioned that it's imperative to increase the awareness about the breast cancer. That was because both the incidence and mortality rates are on the rise, and this trend is expected to continue. And considering about the reason, let's talk about the risk factors. The first risk factors. Our modern lifestyle plays a significant role in this trend. Westernized lifestyle characterized by higher obesity rates and lower level of physical activity are contributing to the increasing number of breast cancer cases. The transition from traditional healthier diet to a Western diet is considering reason for about 25.6 of Chinese women being overweight. I think that was the same with the Japanese women, which are transition from the traditional diet from the Western diet. And obesity, particularly among post-menopausal women, is strongly associated with a highlighted risk of breast cancer. And despite those concerning trends, there are no currently any effective public policies addressing that unhealthy diet, obesity, and promoting any physical activities. And another important impact was the decline in fertility rates. Breast cancer risk factor for Chinese women differ somewhat from those in the high-income countries like Shanghai or Guangzhou. And like women in the West, certain reproductive and hormonal factors such as early menstruation, late menopause, not having children, having the first children at an older age, are limited breastfeeding, are linked to a higher risk of breast cancer in China. The decline in fertility rates, partly due to the Chinese one-children policy, may have also impacted breast cancer risk. This could be because of reduced breastfeeding duration over a woman's lifetime. And interestingly, higher birth rate per woman in China have been associated with a lower risk of breast cancer, especially for post-menopausal women. So over this year, Chinese total fertility rates has significantly dropped from around 6 in the 1915 to 1.6 in 2010. Notably, affluent Eastern Houston region has the lowest fertility rates. For instance, in the urban Shanghai, the fertility rate was the lowest globally in 2010, and it was at 0.8, which is much lower than in the most developed countries. Therefore, it's critical to urgently raise the awareness about the breast cancer prevention, measuring, and advocates for proactive intervention to address those risk factors. And next, I would advise our team member Masha to introduce our campaign.
Yeah, hello everyone. So first, I would like to mention that we would like to initiate the contact with the company. We actually want to do that, especially when I was thinking of the design and of how to make this all come true. I actually got interested in that. So yeah, we're going to initiate the contact with the company. Then we are going to collaboratively develop the strategy so that everybody is satisfied, and then implement the solution. And I would like to show you how our design looks and what is our medium. So first, we are going to change the Non-Fu Springs iconic water bottle label from red to pink. We are going to have a small addition of a pink ribbon on their logo, as you can see on the mountain on the top. And we are going to integrate a QR code on each bottle that which lead a customer to a dedicated website page. And since, as we already mentioned, our goal is educating the public, young women in Shanghai, about signs of breast cancer, including risk factors, symptoms, and the importance of early detection. When you scan the QR code, you're going to go to this section of the website. So they have huge section devoted to social responsibility, where they talk about what they did, how much money they donated, which regions they helped, educational programs that they carried out. And if you scroll a little bit lower, you're going to go to our section, which is going to be called Power with Pink. And the first page is going to be very minimalistic. We want to keep the website just as the company prefers it to be. And as you scroll horizontally, you're going to see more information connected to the issues that we mentioned, where you can get screening and where we devote our donations, because we also want to support people affected by the disease. And also, we want to have celebrity involvement. And since our target audience is young women, we thought that we needed a celebrity with the same audience. So I thought that Jackson Wang is perfect celebrity to have for this campaign, because he has a huge social media following, and his audience is mostly young women from 17 to 35. And he's originally from China, and he visits Shanghai quite often. And he's interested in cases like that. He has collaborated with UNICEF. He had a campaign to raise awareness and funds for children issues, and he participated in COVID-19 relief. So yeah, it's going to raise our involvement. It's going to increase our media coverage, increase credibility and trust, because many people look up to him as a role model. And next, I would like to also share previous cases that were quite successful. So as you can see on the slide, Coca-Cola, Heineken, a lot of other companies like McDonald's and Snickers had similar campaigns with short-term redesign of the packaging. Also, Yoplait and the cosmetics company ST had also breast cancer awareness campaigns, and they were quite successful, but also there are a lot of lessons to learn from these campaigns, especially reading articles about the results. I learned that it is very important to keep the packaging, keep the main elements there, not to confuse customers and not to scare them off. Also, it's very important to act what you speak, so that it's not only a tool for promotion. So the company should be actually interested in doing what they are showing to the customers. So keeping it recognizable and aligning it with the company's values is very important. And I'm going to ask John to take over, and he's going to tell us about the short video and its benefits.
John, are you there? We can't hear you.
Sorry. Hopefully it's okay now.
Yep.
Okay. So I'd like to talk about the video campaign that we prepared. This will be a crucial part of all of this breast cancer awareness campaign. So in constructing and in making this video, we implement these 3 communication strategies, and I'd like to talk about each of this. Next slide, please. So we use short video format, which is typical in social media platforms like TikTok and Instagram. And it offers several benefits as compared to traditional television advertisements. First, it has a wider audience because almost all people now have access to social media as opposed to television. Second, it attracts traffic to the product website, which is not possible with traditional TV advertisement. You see a video, you click the video, then you go to the company website, which stimulates traffic. Please go back, not yet. Third, it's typically entertaining, and there's a possibility for the video to go viral because of likes, and which typically called like grab. And we can incorporate hashtag, which is a form of establishing a community within, say, within the product or within the breast cancer awareness. And finally, probably the best advantage, it's typically low cost to produce. Next slide, please. And the second strategy is it resonates with the audience. And these are some of the principles that we applied. First, the travel video that we shoot is shot with typical mobile phone, and which makes it more relatable. Second, it connects the audience wants and needs. Later, I'm going to show specifically, I show sightseeing, and then that's the wants, and then the needs will be to stay hydrated. Third, it utilizes the theme,
Okay,
the
I have
pink
to
theme
clap.
and
Sorry,
the
John.
ribbon, universally associated with women breast cancer awareness. And finally, it features upbeat music to convey overall positive feeling. Next slide, please. And the final strategy is effective narrative. We use simple SCR framework. These are the three-part situation. It's sightseeing, establishes the context, grab attention with the scenic places. Second part is complication, thirsty. And this presents the problem typically experienced when sightseeing and traveling. Finally, the resolution or the solution is to drink the water, the bottled water. Next slide, please. Here, I'd like to show the proposed video.
How long is the video?
20 seconds.
Okay, let's finish.
Yeah, unfortunately, I cannot hear the music, but maybe we can send some time. Okay, next slide, please. So these video clips were captured at popular
John,
spots
I
in
think it's
Kansas.
time to pause. It's time to conclude. So you're
Okay.
group for 17 minutes. I'm sorry that we have to do this every group, or we won't be ending the class. Well,
Sure. So I'd like to
no problem.
end our presentation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So always really important to rehearse a number of times and check the timings, because it can be a little bit frustrating for the people at the end of the presentation, like John, who didn't have his allotted time to cover his topic there, which is a little bit of a shame. But yeah, we did make it clear it was going to be 15 minutes, and we did also suggest that you rehearse at least once, maybe 2 times, 3 times would be good. Okay, shall we move on to the next one?
Yes, please. Yeah.
Okay, so next we want to call on Team B, Fusion Lab. Same as the previous situation, and I'm going to set up the timer. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, please begin.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Today, my group will be talking about our campaign, HPV Meow, Happy Lives. Next slide, please. So first, let's start with a story. Imagine that you are Wei. You fell in love with your wife in university. She was the second girlfriend you ever had. And after graduating, you got married and began your careers, and you're looking forward to starting a happy, healthy family. What you didn't know is that during your first relationship in university, you contracted HPV, the human papillomavirus. You were never vaccinated or tested because you didn't know that it was necessary for men, and your first girlfriend didn't know either, so it was really no one's fault. But now you're faced with a harsh reality. 1 year after getting married, you begin to feel a sore on your tongue, and you learn that you have oral cancer caused by HPV. You never knew that you could get oral cancer from HPV, but now you have it, and you're beginning your marriage in a state of uncertainty. Your wife and your family have to support you while you go in for expensive invasive treatments and surgeries, and your finances suffer. Even if you recover, you don't know what the future will look like because you unknowingly gave your wife HPV too, and there's a chance she could get cervical cancer in the future. So you wish that you had gotten the HPV vaccine when you were younger, so you could be thinking of a career and children instead of doctor's visits. Currently in Shanghai, men are not offered a free HPV vaccine. You never spoke about HPV with your parents and friends, and many women are still not educated about the vaccine. It shouldn't be their responsibility alone. Wei is just one example, but his story is based on the stories of millions of men across China and across the world who have HPV. So why should you, as the government of Shanghai, care? Well, as you've just seen, HPV has negative impacts on individuals, families, the economy, and society at large. But with better education, public awareness, and support by the government and partners, we can get young men vaccinated and prevent what happened to Wei from happening to them, and allow people to live happy lives.
So a general overview, HPV is a abbreviation for human papillomavirus. It's not actually a one single kind of virus. It's a family over 200 different kind of viruses. And it's estimated that across the world, the prevalence over 11%. And they can cause serious diseases, and especially cancers. And among all the cancers caused by virus, over 35% are caused by HPV. And among all the cancers caused by HPV, well, most are female, but still 12% are male. So men can also be infected by this virus. But the problem is, compared with other diseases, it seems that HPV has not received enough attention, and especially in terms of the vaccination coverage. And well, a still more worrying point is that, well, after the pandemic, the world vaccination coverage of HPV started to decline for the first time. But it's very useful to get a vaccination. And it's estimated by the researcher that even girls-only vaccination can greatly reduce the prevalence across the world. Well, think about that. We can totally eliminate this virus in the next 100 years, but that will be an ongoing effort. And actually, we need your help.
And as we all know, the majority of campaigns promoted the HPV vaccine primarily targeted women due to certain diseases like cervical cancer. And women are more often the ones that make decisions about whether their children get the vaccine. Meanwhile, in the academic arena, compared to the emphasis on HPV in women, there has been less research on HPV in men. In recent years, research has also begun to focus on HPV infection in heterosexual men and the impact of male to female transmission of HPV. Now, 10-second trivia. The lifetime probability of infecting the HPV virus is about 80% for women. Then what about men? 10%, 30%, or 90%? Yeah, the answer is 90%. So it's important to note that most affected women and men do not exhibit clinically significant signs or symptoms, and most may only have a transient infection. On the other side, HPV is highly prevalent in men worldwide and can cause various male-related diseases, like this disease shown on this slide. And in September 2023, the WHO released an update stating that about 1/3 of men worldwide are infected with HPV. The Lancet, the leading medical journal, also reported that nearly 1/5 of men worldwide are infected with high-risk types of the HPV virus. But the good news is, specifically, the HPV vaccine can prevent them. Also, Professor Ding Yang from China Pharmaceutical University said that the HPV virus can be cross-infected between the two sexes, which is the most common cause of cervical cancer in women. So for the sake of protecting themselves as well as their partners, it's necessary for men to be vaccinated against the HPV virus as well.
Now, I'd like to talk about various vaccination strategies adopted globally and specifically in China. One notable approach has been application of charity performance. This was launched by J-Fang Daily and China Newsweek with sponsorship from MSD China. This performance aimed to raise awareness about cancer and emphasize the significance of HPV vaccination. The charity performance invites audience to experience life choice faced by the heroine. In the next, please. Beyond Shanghai, a prevalent strategy worldwide involves media campaigns such as short videos. For instance, the Australian Cancer Council created a video explaining about HPV and HPV vaccines targeting teenagers and their parents. Next, additionally, using social media is equally vital. Sharing content on platforms like Instagram and TikTok enhances awareness of HPV and HPV vaccination. Notably, boosting events during International HPV Day on March 4th is also an effective approach. As a further strategies, ensuring free vaccination for men is crucial. This ensures everyone to be protected from HPV-related diseases. Through focusing on education and accessibility, we hope to build a healthier future for all.
Well, based on the current situation and statistic that my partners presented here, we would like to launch our Happy Lives HPV median campaign. Our target audience will be college-age men from 18 to 26 years old. Although there is a recent trend in which HPV vaccine are made available to people aged widely from 9 to 45, we would like to take our first step by focusing on young college men. We believe that their age will allow them to benefit them from getting the vaccines. And this group of young men has just become adults as they just grown up, enter the university, and has gained the competence or agency to make their own decision. Next slide, please. We also believe that the feature of young men should be highlighted. Young men can be great advocates to their peers, and they can appeal to other group of people, like their parents, thereby making our campaign more influential. Next slide, please. So building on this feature of young men, we plan to invite celebrities to take part in our events. Celebrities have a significant influence on young men and can help raise their awareness about HPV. Next slide, please. We also provide a list of clinics where they can receive HPV vaccines. So local clinics can also join our events to provide more precise professional information, so that our campaign won't be just a slogan or something that looks very fancy under the influence of celebrity, but instead by cooperating with some clinics, we can enhance the public understanding of this scientific knowledge. And in addition, we provide access to information through the popular Chinese applications platforms such as WeChat and Alipay. And users can locate their nearest clinics, learn about our HPV campaign, and access scientific information, providing them with more convenience.
Okay, so our Happy Lives campaign looks a little bit like this in terms of a timeline. So first of all, we would start with some teasers for a couple of weeks on social media, focusing mainly on social media that we know it's popular among Chinese users, such as Weibo, such as Douyin, but not forgetting some other platforms like, for example, Instagram. Now, these teasers, we might use micro celebrities for maximum impact, but they will be teasing specifically the launch of a music video that we hope to get many guest stars in, that will have lyrics alluding to the importance of getting vaccinated against HPV. So we want this video, maybe you include a little bit of rap or some modern tones. We want it to be released on March the 4th, like we already mentioned, that's the International HPV Awareness Day. And we want to include not only singers or actors, we also want to include athletes, all the kinds of role models that this demographic will be interested in. And at the same time, we would ask some people to put some posters. We would have posters in strategic locations, mainly on clinics, but also perhaps on the dormitories in university campus and other places that this demographic will frequent. Now, how will we make sure that our message is not falling on deaf ears? Well, that's how we will complement our strategy with a participatory approach. So on March the 4th, we're planning a big launch campaign with a rally in a university. So in that rally, we will have many different stations for our participants to take to play around. So first station would be a rap battle station. So this way we can also help the launch of the song. People have to learn the lyrics, but also bring on the attitude, maybe film themselves and share that content on social media. Now we also have a trivia station, a little bit like the trivia that you already experienced during this presentation. And thinking about this, not only participatory approach, but the experiential learning thing, we want to play some games. For example, we know that getting a free HPV vaccination for men can feel less difficult as finding a needle in a haystack. So we're not gonna hide an actual needle in a haystack, we're gonna hide a button so that people can have that experience of finding it and then have to sew it as well, so that we can bring home the message of vaccinating against HPV, like sewing, it's something that everyone should do, not just women. And we also have a marble run to better illustrate this point of how the spread of the virus can be very difficult to manage if we let it to spread. But with vaccination, that is with very simple strategies, we can prevent it from going that far. Now, this rally can be a one-day event at a certain campus. It can also be replicated in other campuses. We can, in those instances, add a hydrating station in which people can chat informally with other persons who want to share their HPV stories. But these activities can also be placed around the city in strategic locations so that more people can get access to it over the course of a month. So we'll be talking about around 6 weeks for our campaign to take part. That is, if you help us to make it a reality.
So this is our call to action to the Shanghai government. We want you to be our partner, to help us to spread our message to young men that HPV vaccination is for them too. So with your support, through funding, through finding venues, through doing publicity, through your official channels, and also importantly, by committing to provide a free HPV vaccine to men, you can help us to overcome men's barriers to HPV vaccination. So if you remember Wei from the beginning of her presentation, what do you think his life would have looked like if he had been exposed to our campaign? He might have gotten vaccinated in his first year of university and never contracted HPV. Then he would have met his wife, gotten married, begun his career, and they could have started their family happy and healthy and free from medical issues. So this is the future that we want to create for all men, for all women, for all individuals and families in Shanghai, a future where all people can live happy lives. Thank you.
Hey, thank you.
Well, you
Good.
didn't have to clap there.
I didn't have to, but I can't help clapping.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know that was very good.
Okay.
Very good. I'm amazed because that's the biggest group, isn't it? There's
It is.
6 of you, and I was really worried that it would be the longest presentation, but you obviously prepared very well. It's excellent.
Okay, thank
Munjin,
you.
did you have a reaction?
Well, yeah, very good. So I was very affected by your storytelling strategy and how the members improvise with one another. Anyway, Brendan and I will provide you, each group, more detailed feedback afterwards. So let's move on to our third group. How's that,
I just
Brendan?
wonder if we have a minute just to maybe allow Professor Batjagal to give some reaction to the
Sure,
first
sure.
two presentations, especially since maybe she could not stay for the whole thing. Professor Batjagal, do you have any reactions to those two presentations so far? Are you with us? I'm not seeing. Okay.
I think she's not.
Oh, okay. Okay, great. Never mind then. All right, let's continue then. Sorry,
Yeah.
Donjin, you were going to introduce.
No worries, no worries. Yeah. Group 3, ready?
Yes.
Yes.
Share
So
the
shall I share the screen?
Yes,
Everyone
please.
here? Me?
So Nicole, are you?
Oh,
Are
can
you
you guys see my screen?
Not yet.
Not
Oh,
yet.
yeah.
Not yet.
Oh, wait a second. I'm sorry, I think there's something wrong with this
I tried
with
the
my
screen
laptop.
share.
Like can you try the screen share?
Okay, I'll try the screen share.
Wow, are you in Hawaii? Okay, looks
Good.
nice.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
tell us,
Okay,
Let's start.
are you
testing
ready
the
to start?
control. Okay, ready when our group
Yes.
is.
Good afternoon. I am very glad to welcome everyone on our presentation. We are Group C, or Honeycomb team, whose members you can see on the slide. Today we will talk about sex education among young people in China, and the name of our project is Make It Fun, Make It Safe. I want to start with a quote from the world-famous art director Olivier Zem. I believe that sex is as much a part of life as architecture, fashion, art, or food. I refuse to believe that sex should be hidden. When you hide sex, problems start, because sex becomes dangerous. Next slide, please. On this slide, you can see the structure of our presentation. Next slide, please. But why are these topics so important at all? There are three main reasons. Firstly, according to research by Mia Narushima and Joanne Malone, all at this age, the foundation of sex health, well-being, and a positive self-image is formed, which subsequently affects the ability to build healthy relationships. Secondly, because of the one-child policy in China, a sexual revolution took place, which led to a sharp increase in premarital and extramarital sex and a decrease in the age of sexual debut. Finally, all this led to an increase in the incidence of HIV by 22% per year from 2008 to 2017, as well as a significant increase in the incidence of gonorrhea and syphilis. Next slide, please. Moreover, the situation is complicated by three main problems. Firstly, a few parents tell their children about sex education because of conservative and cultural norms in China. Secondly, even though sex education is included in the curriculums, few teachers really talk about this. Finally, as a result, young people use the internet, which contains a lot of unverified and dangerous information. Next slide, please. Based on the studied articles, it can be said that one of the main sources of sexual education in China is the internet. But between school and family sex education, school education is in the lead. Next slide, please. Finally, I would like to cite the results of the survey about sex education in China. 85% of respondents agreed that the sex education requires specific study. Moreover, around 78% of respondents believe that, first of all, schools and teachers should take responsibility for sex education, then parents and students themselves. At the same time, 44% of respondents dissatisfied and very dissatisfied with the current level of sexual education in China. To sum up, despite the increased awareness of the importance of sex education and its popularity, we can talk about the lack of effectiveness of sex education at school and at home. Next slide, please. And based on this conclusion, we have set the three following goals. The key goal is to increase the overall level of sex education among people from 13 to 22 years old, with a target coverage of 33 million people, which is 20% of our target audience at all, within 5 years. The second one is to promote the creation of a favorable and open to discussion environment in China. Finally, the third one is to create and provide free access to proven resources on the topic of sex education. And now we move on to the client and audience part.
Yeah, so our client is going to be Durex, the #1 condom brand in the world. And our audience is split up into two groups of teenagers. The first one is ages 13 to 16, and the second one is 17 to 22. So our groups are split into two to better reach our target audience and to make sure that our campaigns are more specific. So the teenagers 13 to 16 are most likely a kind of disinterested audience. They might be shy and find sex kind of awkward to talk about, but mostly they're still going to be somewhat curious. And then the older age group is a lot more interested, most have reached puberty. Some maybe have experience with romance and relationships. But overall, they still are very new to this whole thing. And the audience is a huge number of people. China has the largest number of adolescents in the world. It's estimated around somewhere 230 million. And then the interest and need. A lot of different studies have shown what level of knowledge the Chinese adolescent population has. And these studies with the percentages are from a bunch of different university students in China. And the results were that 72.5% would prefer to get their sex education online, which is perfect with our campaign. And then 53% of answers on a sexual and reproductive health survey were correct. And this is a pretty low score. Like, if you think about it, just above half of the quiz was like correct. Another study revealed that 18% of people who had sex experiences did not know how to use a condom. And then 44% of those did not know how to use birth control pills. And then why Durex? Well, Durex is very popular for being innovative and creative with its marketing. And this image is just one example of their creative marketing strats. They are very open to try new stuff with their marketing, and are very famous for being kind of hinting towards stuff without being explicit or too vulgar, which is perfect considering China's strict laws against like explicit stuff. Durex is also assured quality. They have extensive testing on their products, and their whole image is positive, educational, and inclusive. In recent years, they have focused a lot on making sure that all of their audience know what safe sex is, what positive sex is, making sure that consent is a main thing. And here you can see just two of their beliefs. Yeah.
So in order to better reach our target audience and work with our clients, we analyzed the current situation of sex education in China. And according to a research conducted by UNFPA, 100 of middle schools in the research have no independent sex education class. And there is a serious lack of interactive and memorable teaching method. So we have to work with both online sex education communication, and also we have to work with those middle schools offline. Next slide, please. And regarding the online sex educations, we chose Douyin, the Chinese version of TikTok, as a target platform to analyze the current situation. So after we sorted the videos by numbers of likes, we discovered that there is actually all kinds of information about condom use online. So basically, if anyone wants to know how to use a condom, it is very easy to get information on short video platforms. However, we do find that the problem still exists. Like, most videos are featured by one expert speaking in front of a camera, and their way of storytelling is reading the information instead of telling the story. I'm sorry, next one, please. And these videos may be enough for the interested audience, but they are not enough for the uninterested and or the polarized ones. They will not be willing to watch them. And also, some videos contain too much information and even last longer than 3 minutes, which is a disadvantage in today's online environment. So we cannot find any official accounts focusing on sex education. And most videos are posted by health communication influencers or relationship influencers, which means that misinformation can easily happen. And therefore, based on these findings, we develop our media strategy. And I will give the floor to Nida.
Hello, everyone. This is our media campaign part. And like Will said, we've divided our audience into two parts. We have a younger audience and an older audience. We are using the stickiness theory to guide our work. We're doing, yeah, that's okay. Tab. Second slide's fine. Thank you. And we're going to keep it simple. We're going to keep it unexpected. I'm going to show you exactly how. And we will definitely keep it fun. And that's the emotion that we're going with. Next slide, please. Oh, we can definitely skip this one. Thank you, Deb. Okay, so for teenagers from 13 to 16, we decided that we need to have a little bit of a separate strategy in the same campaign. So what we've done is we've gone for a two-pronged strategy with an online campaign where we will be creating simple specialized Kahoot games that can be shared with schools, right? So like simple questions like, which of the following is a sign of a healthy relationship? Respecting each other's boundaries, keeping secrets from each other, feeling scared to express your feelings, or having one person make all the decisions. So, simple question or like multiple choice questions. True or false, a healthy relationship means you should always be scared of a partner or agree with your partner. So such things that we can distribute to middle schools that can be then employed by teachers in class. Second would be our offline campaign, again with middle schools, where sex information is given out, more about autonomy over your anatomy, and game centered around safe sex, like safe sex relay, where different desks can be set up and teams have to complete each task at each desk, and each one will give them a little bit about sex or autonomy or puberty, depending on the school. So next slide, please. I'm sorry, I know I'm doing it a little bit rushed, but I'm very aware of the time. Next one, please. So we decided to do a small comic book, right? And our comic book or small videos with our main comic book character. And I think maybe calling him an animated character is a better way to go. So main character is Dodo along with main character Rex. And there is a Dr. Lee involved as well. So basically, each episode will be less than 3 minutes, and they will talk about sex and how Rex and Dodo are in love and they have some problems, and this will all be done under an official Douyin account called Make It Fun, Make It Safe. Can we have the next slide, please, Deb? So why we decided to go for dinosaurs? Because nobody talks about dinosaurs' reproductive behavior, so there will be no debate, right? And people can all relate to dinosaurs. It'll just be fun having a little bit of an animated scene. Also, our target audience is China, and one of my favorite things about China is that there are not many barriers. People won't be like, oh my God, this is kiddish. They will enjoy it just the same. The topic will focus on condom use and how to wear one, how to ask for a condom, even for women. Next slide, please. This is a little bit of a sample today, like Rex going to, today we're going to AB Clinic at East Mall for a consultation, right? Let's check out the clinic. So basically a judgment-free space, or these are free condoms that you can pick up from there. Or, getting in touch with a doctor and be like, oh, Dr. Lee is very open-minded. I don't feel judged here at all because she's telling you to get tested for these or using a condom, right? So where and how we can access help. Next slide, please. And then this is the put it on dance challenge, where like putting on a glove, putting on a hat, it's a put it on challenge just to get people involved. Our hashtag is put it on. It is a dance challenge. And we'd invite everybody to come make videos, even with true or false. But it's just like a condom thing. So like we can all do the dance, put it on, put it on, put it on, right? So next slide, please. And basically, of course, everybody needs influencers. So we will invite influencers as well to talk on our channel and, talk about safe sex and raise awareness. Next slide, please.
So we'd like to talk about some risks we expect to encounter here, which is that our content will get blocked because of the nature of what we're talking about, and that the adults who are worried about the well-being of their kids or more conservative will also protest. So this can be both likely and catastrophic in terms of their impact. So we go around this by first we use some euphemism or some graphics instead of directly saying what we mean. to bypass some kind of content filter and censorship. And we also use credible collaborators like universities and health centers to raise the awareness of how important sex education is. So we hope to expand this thing from China to Asia by changing our platform, by changing the language and involving local volunteers to ensure that our content is culturally sensitive and respectful. And hopefully, we hope that teens can be empowered to describe, ask for, and obtain safe sex through their clinics and with their partners. We hope to deliver the truth, transcending cultural norms and censorship. And we hope that people know where to get help and when and how to get help as well. We do so by doing a test screening with fellow kids. And we hope that they like our videos and can comment honestly. And then we can also use social media metrics like shares and comments to see how far these come along. And so we compiled a list of our references that were very helpful in this study. And we thank you all for your time and attention.
Thank you, Tab. It's always stressful to be the last one, and you made it. Thanks.
Yeah, well done. That was a lot of information to cover in a presentation, and I must admit I liked the variety of ways that you're going to engage with your target audience. That was very creative and very impressive. Okay. Can you stop sharing, please? Oh, great. Thank you. Good. Wow. We are over halfway through.
Yeah, and we're on time. Good.
We're on time. We're on time as well.
Yeah. Let's invite our group 4. Okay, members of group 4.
Sorry, let me reset the clock.
That's us, I think.
Group
Yeah,
4.
it is. It's Change Lab.
Yes, Professor, can we?
I think if
yeah, right.
Is my screen visible?
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
Ready when you are.
How do we do it? Countdown from 3 to 0?
3, 2, 1, 0.
Yeah.
Stop.
Okay. So we are Change Lab, a collaborative effort between Osaka University and Shanghai Jiao Tong University. And today we will be introducing our social media campaign, Reuse and Rebirth, to raise awareness for plastic reduction and reuse. So what I will firstly talk about is some of the numbers, some of the specifics, and current pitfalls. So it's hard to deny it, but I think everyone here uses plastic, uses it a lot, and it's difficult to go without it because it is simply too convenient to give up, or at least that's my personal experience. But how do we actually use plastic on a daily basis? As you can see from the chart, 35%, some sources say more, goes towards packaging, which to the general public is the most relevant part of daily use plastic. But luckily, everything is, or a significant part of it is recyclable. However, it is not that easy because there are different types of plastics. The takeaway message is that you have thermoplasts versus thermosets. And the first two groups of plastics are thermoplasts. They are most commonly used in drinking bottles, so the PET bottles or other plastic wrappers. And they are, on paper, easily recyclable. You can think of them sort of like melting chocolate. And after melting it, it allows you to cool it down and make your own shapes out of it again. The third to sixth group of type of plastics are also thermoplasts, but they are much less easily recycled, not because they are more stable, but because they either provide toxic side products, they lose strength after recycling. They are contaminated because they are being used in agricultural settings, or it is simply too expensive. And then the final group of plastics are the thermosets, which are near impossible to recycle or simply way, way, way too expensive. And you can think of these as a hard-boiled egg, which is hard and it doesn't turn liquid again once you try to change it. So it is a definitive change. It's like a final change. So if you go back to the initial chart, what you can see is that roughly 75% is recyclable on paper, but in actuality, only 9% of our entire worldwide plastic use is actually being recycled due to those factors that I described previously. The other 50% goes to landfills, which are regulated by government or companies. 22% is illegally dumped or leaked into the ocean or anywhere else that you can think of. And 19% is simply just burned. And to explain this collective mindset, I want to pass the word on to Martina for now.
Yes. So as Patty has pointed out, most plastics are not efficiently recyclable. But despite this, we all consume them like they are. And this myth of efficient plastic recycling has been peddled for decades by the plastic industry, which in the 80s launched a massive propaganda campaign to convince the public that it is fine to buy a lot of plastic products as long as we do throw them in the right bin. This campaign was promoted in three main ways. First, distribution of educational materials containing deceptive information. Second, investments in just-for-show inefficient recycling initiatives to appease public concern. And third, the misleading advertisements. On this slide, you can see an example of this last practice. A 1991 poster by the National Association for Plastic Container Recovery, which falsely suggests that PET plastics can be recycled repeatedly. As a result, the public was happily deceived into reaping the benefits of a cushy, plastic-heavy society. Next slide, please. Thanks. So this is why we, the Change Lab team, recognize our society's need to do a reality check on the plastic issue and seek practical solutions. We are in a difficult situation because we need corporations to help us transition to reducing and reusing plastics, meaning buy less plastics in the first place and use it again without relying on ineffective recycling solutions. However, there are two problems. First, corporations will never support reducing and reusing plastics unless it becomes profitable. And second, consumers will not engage in better behavior unless it is framed as a fun activity. So what is our solution? We propose a social media campaign to help people reduce and reuse plastics in a way that engages them meaningfully and artistically. We designed this campaign so that it will also be profitable for our target company, Team Lab. Daria will introduce the concept.
So as a first step to change the situation of misleading and disinforming, we decided to focus on raising the awareness. And to initiate changes, our campaign is aimed to offer people alternative ways of consumption based on one of three basic principles: reuse, which will be easier for the first step. And we have transformed it into a more creative and inspiring slogan, just birth it. We proposed our idea to our investor, an international art organization, Team Lab. Its colored and digitalized exhibitions are well known all over the world, mostly in big cities, and they represent the incorporating of technology, nature, and science. We decided to locate our media campaign in a pretentious city, if we talk about plastic waste, where a huge number of people produce a huge amount of plastic every day that needs to be disposed properly, but which the government cannot cope with. For example, in 2022, China refused to accept the plastic from Hong Kong for further recycling, and it laid pathetically in the city. And since then, the government of Hong Kong has decided to start moving towards plastic regulations. And in April 2024, Hong Kong made a first step by banning a single-use bag. So to limit the audience, we decided to reach the youth, obviously, because they are open to change and they are also aware of global ecological agenda. And to understand the audience, let's look at their interests. For Zoomers, it's really important to be present in the digital space. And this audience is mostly attracted by fun, cuteness, and what's interesting, by AI influencers. And the millennials who already work in this and they're financially more stable, they like to travel. And that's why there are many millennial tourists in Hong Kong, which we can also work with.
We conducted a small survey, by the way, to check the awareness of our target audience on the plastic issue, and we found that they are already quite aware of recycling, but skeptical. They do not believe that their everyday choice of consumption can change the situation. However, many of them already follow some principles of reusing, which is a good indicator for us. So now let's summarize what will help us make our media campaign more effective. We should interact the youth mostly digitally by cuteness, involving fandom communities, provide activities and sports for their own content, and initiate communication between them because they are creative enough for this. So now Ziwei will describe detailed actions of our media campaign.
So hello, I will introduce our concrete media campaign and media strategies. We set up our Instagram account named ChangeLab. It will lead our media campaign. You can follow us to join our activities. First of all, we manage our Insta account to accumulate followers. Firstly, we post informative graphics, short videos, and posters about scientific knowledge about plastics. Secondly, we will share tips for reducing and reusing plastics. Next slide, please. And for example, we can use waste bottles to make hanging baskets for placing wet umbrellas. Thirdly, we post making tutorials of plastic artworks. These are plastic windmills, and making tutorials is difficult, right? And fourthly, we will share plastics artworks created in collaboration with TeamLab. These are some posts we've published on our Insta account. They are fancy bottles and lovely robots are made of waste plastic. When we accumulate a certain number of followers, we will launch plastic reduction activities. We create hashtag reduce, reuse, and reborn plastics. And here is one of the Dr. Khan's fruits gardens. She will use yogurt cups to plant fruits. Users like her can share their recycling experience attached to our hashtags to engage in our activities. Next are some details of our activities. We launched a 21-day reducing plastic challenge activities on Instagram, and will create different tasks of plastic reducing, reusing every day. Users who accomplish tasks will get recycled plastic products sponsored by our client TeamLab, and will be invited to watch plastic artwork exhibitions held by TeamLab for free. The most important part of our media campaign is that we will hold an exhibition named Rebirth, the future journal of plastic, with our client TeamLab. We will place small signs next to each exhibit to explain the explain the dangers of plastics to the environment and the biodiversity. And we will collect users' waste bottles to design a collective plastic exhibition. And in the end, we will hold online plastic artwork workshops. We will invite artists working with TeamLab to teach participants how to transform waste plastic into handicraft or artworks, and then put outstanding creations on Instagram. And we will exhibit part of our users' artworks on our exhibition. Here are details of our media campaign. We go next speaker, Jiacheng.
Hi, let me introduce the analysis of our campaign strategy and make conclusion and talk about our long-term goal in the future. So we use SWOT analysis for our campaign. It shows that our campaign has several strengths, such as the Instagram platform allows us to reach a large number of people and engage them with our content. And we have AI generator and influential artist TeamLab. to help us with our content, and our target audience is highly engaged and active. However, we do have some weaknesses, like the misunderstanding of plastic recycling can undermine our efforts to educate and promote sustainable practices. And the uncertainty in achieving long-term behavior change is another weakness. We also have significant opportunities. The environmental awareness is growing, so more people are becoming concerned about plastic pollution and are open to make changes. Additionally, we have government policy support. Some new laws and policies aimed at reducing plastic pollution make it easier to achieve our goals. And one major threat, I think most important, is the platform control and competition for attention. The social media algorithms and trends are beyond our control, meaning we cannot guarantee consistent visibility. Since our account is new, it doesn't have an established follower base yet. This means we need to put in extra effort to promote our account and content to ensure it reaches a wide audience, so we make crisis management. If the engagement is low, we have three backup activities to attract our audience. First, influencer partnerships. So we collaborate with the Instagrammer on the platform, and we can join local cleanup events so we can meet more eco-friendly people and invite them to our campaign. And we can collaborate with schools and university to attract Generation Z students. And the KPI for campaign effectiveness, we use the three criteria about how we measure the effectiveness of our campaign. Firstly, we aim to achieve more than 10,000 impressions and at least 1,000 likes on our social media posts to gauge our reach and engagement. Secondly, we seek to engage more than 200 participants in our challenges and workshops to ensure active involvement. Lastly, we strive to generate over 100 pieces of user-generated content to foster community interaction and creativity. And we also focus on long-term impact. In conclusion, our campaign aims to foster long-term behavior change and environmental stewardship. We want to help people build lasting habits of using less plastic and making sustainable choices. We're also pushing for better policies to reduce plastic waste. And this is our Instagram account. Come and join us. And we are welcome any question about plastic reuse and rebirth. Thank you for listening.
Great, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. A lot of strategies. Yeah, I think it's also quite educational for me.
Yeah, I love the artwork. I think that's a really beautiful solution to plastic problem without making people feel guilty or bad. It's actually quite inspiring, and I thought it was really well put together. I enjoyed it immensely. Okay.
So I think it's time for our last group. Are you ready?
Hi, yeah, sorry, I'll just share my screen quick. Can you see it?
Yes, we can.
Okay, and
do you want to
good
count
afternoon
as well? Okay, are you ready to go? Yep.
Yes, I'm ready. And good afternoon, everyone. And we are the summer group, and very dramatically, we're similar to the previous group. And our topic of the presentation is also about the plastic bags, but also we will present a small workshop that we have conceived. Next slides, please. And the report will be divided into 5 parts, and I'm the first presenter of the first part. Next slides, please. Next slide. And let me share with you the current situation of the plastic bag usage. According to the big data, almost 3 billion plastic bags are used every day around the world. And in one city in China, there are almost about 4 billion tons a year. For one of the common use of the plastic bags are a variety of the shops, such as the fruit shop, small convenience stores, and so forth. Also, some restaurants in the tableware packaging, they will also use the plastics. With the takeaway is become more and more hot in the past few years, and its in use of the plastic bags in the preparation is also higher and higher. Currently, nearly about 70% of the use of the plastic bags are from this. And a large number of plastic bags and long-term use, the impact on the environment is huge, and their degradation cycle is very long. Yeah, next slide, please. The plastic waste is in every corner of the earth, going with the wind, dipping the mountains and old forest, ocean, and so forth. The plastic waste is invisible to the naked eye and is wide distributed in the form of plastic particle in water sources, soil, and even in living creature. A team in Europe had made a study that found 9 different plastic molecular in the human body. It also found that nearly 50% of the population has microplastic molecules in their body. So this means they're 1 out of even 2 people are endangered by the plastic bags. And next slide, please. In response, China has issued several politics on the use of the plastic bags in the 2008 and the 2020. The first restricting the use and required pavement, and then banning them altogether. But this kind of politics has not been well implemented. For large supermarket, the plastic bags are largely be prohibited, but almost for mobile one, they still use them because they are more of an individual economy. It's cheaper to use the plastic bags. The cost is low, such as selling breakfast on the restaurant or any other ways. If they require to pay for the use of the plastic bags, it will lead to the loss of the customers and damage of their economy. So at the same time, they're easily to move it, avoid the regulation and continue to operate after the regulators have left. Next slide, please. And then I will invite my team member, Camelia, to make more detailed presentation of the agenda. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for the info, Luis. Yes, plastic pollution is bad and we should be concerned, but that sounds very familiar. I believe that our audience here have all heard and even partake in campaigns on plastics pollution, right? There are so many campaigns, but the real question is how effective are they in leading a real behavioral change? Well, not as much as they could have. For example, for 91% of Southeast Asian consumers expressing their concern about plastic waste in a 2020 environmental report, only half said they would adopt sustainable habits. And Louis' speech also helped us understand better the difficulty in turning awareness into behavioral change. Too abstract and macro level campaigns demotivates action at ground level, and simply raising awareness might not lead to meaningful change. So we need to be innovative. And according to a paper by campaignthatworks.com, there are 3 enabling conditions to a shift towards sustainable consumption, including information, motivation, and opportunity. And those are keys to a real change in behaviors. Next slide, please. And recognizing the importance of these conditions, our group set up for a friendly, practical, and adoptable solution at local community level. And at its core is a workshop series that aim at community building, raising awareness, and providing hands-on activities for participants. And as a whole, our campaign's general goals can be summarized within 3 E's, including educate, encourage, and enrich. And as such, we desire to reach out to our local community, provide them with information about the issue, give them the motivation that they, as individuals, can also contribute and be included in the change, and also provide an opportunity to make a change through our workshops. And our main platforms would be through social media, newsletters, and on-site events. And with a vision to create a friendly, practical, and adaptable solution, our media campaign's key message is as follows. Next slide, please. We want to create a campaign that's important to our world, think globally, yet not too abstract and irrelevant for individuals so that they can act locally. It should provide a possibility for change, no more plastic bags, a change that's realistic and approachable to a wide range of individuals in local communities, meaning eco-friendly, eco-family, and eco-community. And at its core, we want to express that you, as one person, can also contribute and make a difference through specific action, making green bags, not alone, but as part of your own community, and for your better future, make your green community. And of course, we're not talking about any abstract community, but a real specific one. And next, my friend Alan will introduce us to our target audience.
Well, thanks, Clemia. Clemia has just introduced our agenda, and now it's my part. Our group will hold an activity in Wujing Town, in Minhang District of Shanghai, aiming to promote the use of light plastic bags and contribute to the cause of environmental protection. According to the project analyst, we found that the elderly group and the children group are our main target audience. So we sampled the target audience in this area. On Wednesday, May 19th, I conducted an interview at Jingdong Primary School in Wujing Town. The interviews were with primary school students and the old people who picked them up from school. 9 families were eventually interviewed. Jingdong Primary School in Minhang District of Shanghai is a very famous local school in Wujing Town, and it's very suitable for the service sample because the students' families are mainly in this area, and many elderly people come to pick up their children after school on Wednesday. The target audience for the initiative consists of children between the age of 6 to 12. Next page, please. Next slide, please. The children typically have free time on weekends, during which they enjoy engaging in various activities such as playing, exploring, crafting, and learning about new things. At this stage of their lives, they are in the process of building their own values, and they are easily influenced by concepts related to environmental protection and social responsibility. As such, they are likely to be receptive to messages that promote sustainable and responsible consumption habits. The target audience for this initiative also consists of seniors aged 50 and above, with a majority being women. They typically have a high school education or have a stable income, either through pensions or ongoing employment. Many of them belong to middle-income families. In terms of interest, they enjoy discussing their children with their peers, which can sometimes lead to comparative psychology. Additionally, they are comfortable using mobile phones to access information. By understanding the characteristic and interest of our target audience, we have 2 main findings. The first is because intergeneration relationships are closer. Parental decisions can be influenced by influencing children. And the second is old people are willing to let the children to participate in fair and safe activities, which benefit our program. Next slide, please. Next part, my friend Chun Chun will tell you our media strategy. Thanks.
Thank you, Alan. Our media strategy sets ambitious yet achievable goals. We aim to reduce plastic bag usage in Minhang by 50% within 1 year. Next slide, please. To build community involvement, we will host monthly workshops with at least 20 participants each. Additionally, we plan to grow our social media accounts, reaching 1,000 followers on Xiaohongshu and 500 followers on Instagram within 6 months. Finally, We aim for 50% for our workshop participants to adopt regular use of reusable bags. Next slide, please. We will use multiple platforms to reach our audience efficiently. On Xiaohongshu, we will post promotion videos, posters, tutorials on making reusable bags. Local WeChat groups will be used for announcements and updates, ensuring we connect with community members directly. Informational posters will be displayed in residential buildings, community centers, and local stores to increase visibility. Instagram will be our platform for sharing workshop highlights, tutorials, and success stories to engage a bigger audience. And next slide, please. Okay, to make the community engage, we will collaborate with schools to offer social service hours for students participating in our workshops, aligning with their sustainability goals. And additionally, partnering with residential committees will help us promote our workshops and sustainable practice, ensuring our initiatives are well integrated within the community. And next slide, please. Finally, our workshop offers a comprehensive and really engaging experience. Participants will learn how to sew the reusable cotton bags and understand the environmental benefits. We'll also demonstrate how to upcycle old clothes into reusable bags and other useful items. Additionally, we will provide practical tips on plastic-free grocery shopping, emphasizing alternatives like cloth, produce, bags, and bulk buying. For children, we have interactive activities designed to teach the importance of recycling and reducing plastics. And we will do it in fun and really engaging way. And moreover, we will incorporate English learning through environmental themes, focusing on vocabulary related to sustainability and the environment. And now Amina will take us through the next topic.
Okay, I'll be quite quick, I think. But finally, we'll talk about how we will work on our workshops as we go through and improve through feedback and ongoing conversation. So one of the key ways we need to do this is through measuring our success as we go. For example, at the beginning of each workshop, we can take a short survey of participants to gauge plastic bag usage and how this changes throughout the workshop series. We can also provide comment boxes for participant feedback so that we can deal with problems as they crop up quickly and have an open dialogue with the people engaging in the workshops, and also continue tracking our engagement on local platforms such as Red and also international platforms like Instagram. And the previous section talked a little bit about the short-term goals to develop our program from sort of monthly and also up to a year, but we've also talked about some long-term goals. For example, expanding the program into other communities, perhaps even eventually creating a workshop blueprint to allow for the workshop series to be replicated by more distant communities without our supervision, and also working with local schools to enable students to receive credits for workshop attendance, which would incentivize more young people to come to the workshops. We've also anticipated some problems, such as accessibility and location, especially as elderly people are within our target audience, so we need to account for elderly and disabled attendees. Timing of the workshop is very important. We need to consider people's usual work and school hours, and the location should be somewhere well known to the community so it's easy and convenient, and ideally public so people can see the workshop and become interested in what is going on. Additionally, there are concerns about health and safety and also things like child safeguarding. And we have to, I think incentivizing people to come will also be a problem in some communities maybe. So that's hence the long-term goal to make it a school-credited activity, and the ongoing feedback within the from the participants. And we could include other incentives if necessary, such as providing a meal within the workshop or free gifts from a sponsoring company, such as a reusable water bottle. So as you can see, most of the issues we anticipate to face are logistical and just highlight a need for thoughtful planning, research, and consultation with the community. So we are confident that through these surveys and feedback systems, we will be able to become aware of and quickly handle any further issues that crop up outside of this. Thank you for listening. We'd now like to invite any questions.
Thank you. All right. Seems we're done.
Yes, definitely. Okay, I'm just going to, maybe we can go back to gallery view so we can see everybody.